Growing up in Southern California, rocks quickly became one of my favorite things to ride and seek out on the trail. Today we're going to take those years of experience and try to offer some insight into how to attack, safely navigate, and pick the right line when you encounter a rock garden or loose rocks out on the trail. So before we get into kind of the main rock gardens that we're going to be showing you guys today, we saw this loose, marbly field. What you need to do and remember on this type of terrain is that you're not really going to have a lot of traction. The bike is going to be dancing and making all sorts of micro movements beneath you. What you need to do is kind of focus your hips, knees, and head where you're eventually trying to go. If you're just focusing 5 feet in front of you at a time and you're just constantly steering and fighting, it's gonna be a slip slidey ride and you're not gonna get where you need to go safely. What you really wanna focus on when you're looking and reading this terrain, especially at speed, is where the rocks are thinner and where you can see some dirt. If you stand on top of a bunch of loose, big rocks and you twist your feet around, the rocks are gonna be moving, right? However, if you stomp your feet in, you get those rocks to disperse and slide out and you get a little closer to that hard ground, you're gonna have a little bit more to dig into. And that's the same thing you want those tires to do. You wanna push that bike down and in through those rocks or compact them so tight that they don't have any squirm left to do. And that's where you're gonna make your moves. There are little undulations and rolls, and there are areas where the rocks are a lot smaller and more fine and compacted than when they are loose. And so what I will try to do is you try to unweight and stay really loose on the bike over the bigger, looser rocks that are dancing and moving beneath you, and then find those moments where it's a little bit more hard packed, and that's where you make your move. Loose weighted up off the trail, off the bike, and then boom, push into those little split-second turns that you could call it, like a micro turn. And that's where you're gonna make your little corrections. That's also how you can kind of pump and accelerate speed, right? Every time you come over one of these loose bits and you're unweighted and you compress down, that's where you're gonna be gaining momentum, gaining control, and being able to either reduce your speed if you need to do so, or trying to work on gaining speed and directing that bike. So moving into our first little bit of trail, you have what I would say is an A line and a B line. And it leads into a corner, and just after that corner is another A-B line. And you'll kind of see a difference in speed as well as kind of smoothness, I would say. Now, if you look at what I'll call the A line, it looks a little bit more intimidating because you've got bigger, jagged rocks protruding. You've got, the light and the shadow, so it makes these holes look big and nasty. However, if you look at them, it's a lot cleaner dirt in between. That means that your chance for traction and bike control and braking into that corner are gonna be better. Yes, there are some bumps, and they are bigger compressions that will take a little more. However, I think when it comes time to being loose over the bike like we talked about, it's gonna be a better option. If you look at this B line over here, it is absolutely loose, just so many little marbles over here. So if you try to stay on this smoother line with smaller rock drops, we'll call it, once you get down into this spot right here, you're gonna have a bit of a predicament because you have to cut way over and make a left before you make a very hard right. And trying to get your speed under control and make a turn away from the direction that the trail's going it's just gonna be more difficult. It might look easier from above, but in the end, it's really gonna cost you time, and it's gonna be a little bit more sketchy and set you up poorly for this corner, which could wreak havoc for you on the exit. All right, so 7 seconds on the A line. I'm gonna go back up, same starting point, same finish, and now I'm gonna do the B line and see what the difference is. The B line ended up being 2 seconds slower for a total time of 9 seconds. And I know some of you might be like, 2 seconds, what's the big deal there, right? But you know, if we're talking about a World Cup where, you know, milliseconds make the difference, it adds up, right? And we are talking about 2 seconds in a 7 or 9 second, you know, intervals. All right, so here we are in that corner, right? As you exit the turn, you'll see that the trail again opens up from that single line to 2 line options again. The B line, which is usually the case, is always harder to get to. You have to fight the natural flow, right? I mean, if you think about water, rocks, how things flow, they find the path of least resistance. And sometimes beginner riders, those that are not quite comfortable, try to fight that easiest path. And in doing so, create a bigger chance for them to crash because you are unnaturally going against gravity. If you come out of this corner, you make a slight left and you let gravity do the work, you're in a spot where really all you have to navigate is a 12-inch rock roll to a flat stair-step rock to another 6-inch roll, and then you've got a mellow transition out into a nice catch berm that you can see down below. So in reality, it looks a bit more intimidating, but from I would say a physical standpoint, from a skill standpoint, if you just let that body relax and you let the bike do the work, you focus your hips, your knees, and your head where you want to go, right? Don't look out here, don't look at the tree that's right there. Look down at that catch berm. This is just in the foreground. You know, you don't have to focus on this because your big wheels, your suspension, all that stuff can eat this up. All right, so we have come through a pretty aggressive set of braking rocks that set up into a corner, and then we've got a bit of a steep chute with some large holes into a hard left-hand catch berm, followed by more stair-step rocks to another right. In this section, we're gonna sort of be blending a couple of the skills together that we talked about earlier in the video. You've got line selection, you've got areas that you wanna find, you know, traction for braking and direction, as well as staying loose but strong over the bike. My preferred line when I come out of this corner is down this slab and kind of right through that middle, over that step, and then just hard pray and hold on after that big compression into the berm. You know, another option is to come out here, go against this slab of this rock, go outside, and then you've got a little bit wider of a setup to that left-hand corner. What scares me about this is that rock right there catching a pedal. You've got that rock sticking out, and then you've got that big rock up front, which looks like it's just a magnet for your front wheel. What I'm getting at here is sometimes the easier looking line isn't always the easiest line. When you start really thinking about having to fight the trail, fight gravity, and go back against the flow of things, sometimes it's better to just suck it up, literally and figuratively, and take the most direct route, because it will usually pay off better, and there's a reason that more traffic's going that way. Man, I hope I don't crash on your line now after talking all that smack about it. And now the A line. All right, folks, thank you guys for coming along and rock bashing with us today. Hopefully you've picked up a few bits of information, some techniques, and words of wisdom that will help you guys on your journey through the mountain bike world. Again, everybody wants to stay safe. No one wants to get hurt, but sometimes your brain will tell you to do things that may not be the easiest thing for your bike or your body to do when you're going down gnarly or intimidating looking terrain. So dissect those bits of trails, look at them and really ask, is it worth going all the way around and doing this stuff? Or do I feel comfortable staying loose but powerful on that bike and just letting the suspension and these big wheels eat it up? I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised with the outcome. And again, the less time you're spending on the downhills, the less likely you are to get hurt. So go fast, have fun. Thank you guys very much. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We would love to see you back for future videos. We'll see you out on the trails.